Hey guys, it is your California correspondent. My name's Amy. I'm a second generation Southern Californian, which of course doesn't mean I don't want to get out of here, but that's typical. I'm going to tell you what's going on. I just had read the news today. The San Diego Unified School District is putting up a proposal that they start building affordable housing for their teachers because, they're having a hard time getting teachers in because they can't afford to live here. This is the second county in California that has proposed something alternative for their teachers to have housing because up north they started asking in one of the wealthy school districts if parents had just extra rooms that they could rent to teachers. Now, y'all, last time I checked, teachers were professionals who expected to earn a wage that could provide, they're good budgeters. There's stats on that. They expect to earn a wage that can provide them, a modest home, and the necessities of life. Now, getting a modest home here in Cali is insane. We've owned our home since 2001. So I don't think we could afford to live here if we didn't. That's a little bit of a problem, you see. Because California, for so long, I thought this was a bug, not a feature, but it's a feature. What they say, it's a feature, not a bug. We are actively moving towards a society that is separated into the rich and the poor. Just a little sprinkling of other people. Just enough to do the things that neither of the other classes can do. Because, if you move people into assisted housing, or you move them into living in the bedrooms of the parents, you're making them lower class. Not necessarily in income, but absolutely in social class. You are notching them right down because, darling, they need something from you. It's like we learned nothing from company towns back in the 20s, 30s. Like, we learned nothing from company towns. We're going to start having teachers live in company towns. There was nothing wrong with having a teacher live in somebody's house when the teachers were, young people fresh out of, high school with a, teacher test, or fresh out of a couple years of college. And it was a temporary, it was a first job, like having a first home. It was just the first job, or a job that you had before you got married, so it was a temporary thing. But again, that's a social class. You don't expect somebody to make a career out of something that they're going to have to do living in assisted housing. But apparently, California, that's what we're going to expect. I'm not sure how you're going to get teachers to do this, especially here in Cali, because you are expected to do, your full bachelor's degree, then you have to have a teacher's certificate, then you have a whole pile of other stuff. I mean, it amounts to almost a master's degree to be certified to teach in California. And then, of course, it is a very competitive environment to find a job here. So that's the teachers. So that hit me in the face today. Why did this gel? Well, it gelled because it's been a thing for years where we've had moves to make it easier to move from being middle class to lower middle class to, I'm going to call them serfs, the serf class, because it's kind of what it is. So 15 years ago, at least in theory, they would prosecute you for having too many people living in a home. And then they decriminalized that. And then they moved from decriminalizing that to actively encouraging granny flats. Now, the reason it was illegal in the first place is it puts a tremendous strain on the resources. Parking. In California, pretty much nobody uses their garage for cars because we don't have attics or basements, so our storage is basically the garage. So, everybody's parking either in their driveway or on the street. So you have that. You have, the increased pull on resources. Yeah, there's a whole thing. There were reasons that they didn't want to do that. I have at least two. I mean, like across the street, a couple houses down, across the street, a couple houses up, that both have, like 3 sets of housing or more in one suburban lot. And I'm not talking, this is Southern California, coastal Southern California. So when I say lot, I'm talking about less than a quarter of an acre. The original house was around 1,000 square feet, probably has been expanded to be to 12 to 1,600 square feet. And then now there's outbuildings in the backyard, which is pretty much not a yard anymore. It just tends to be almost entirely concreted over. So this is real. I see it every day. But again, are you, as a teacher, as a firefighter, as a policeman, going to deliberately choose to live like that your whole life? Because I don't think you are. Because that's the expectation is, okay, that would be fine coming up to have a shared space. This is an American cultural thing. We don't share spaces permanently. We don't want to. We share spaces when we're very young, and a lot of us, choose to share spaces with our parents or other elders when we're taking care of them, as they age. That's it. We expect independence. Well, that expectation of independence is going to be snapped. So this puts it in your head that you are a serf. You don't get to have your independence. You don't get to do that. You don't have that cultural expectation of that space. In other places, parts of the world, that's not a cultural expectation. It is here. I'm going to break that. It's very hard to be a small business owner here in California. They just put a thing into place where they can move the minimum wage for restaurants all the way up to $22 an hour. They haven't, but I mean, like they did some, I'm not quite sure what exactly this is, but what it comes down to is that the wages for restaurants, chain restaurants, it's anybody with more than 100 employees. That's, you got 10 restaurants. That's a small chain. Anybody with that number of employees is going to be, paying a whole lot more money. Well, how is that going to make it possible for you as a small business owner to get somebody to come work for you for a lower wage because, you're a small business owner and you cannot afford, especially starting out when you only have maybe, 2 or 3 employees, you can't afford to pay them. So you're never going to expand. So you're going to have independent contractors who are going to do all the things that need doing. And then you're going to have huge employers, big business. And everybody else is going to leave. So that's fun. Yeah, so for so long I thought this was a bug. And they didn't get it, and this is what was going to happen. But people have been leaving in hordes from California, and the response seems to be to put up, posters in other states and say, come back to the land of the free. Well, please, this is not the land of the free. No. It isn't. Try again. But the real response, it's just the words coming out the mouth. We're the land of Hollywood, people. It's just the words coming out the mouth. You don't need to believe those. You know what it actually is? And what we're actually doing is things like saying, oh, all the illegal immigrants get IDs now. So they already had driver's licenses, which is why all y'all are stuck with real IDs. And I'm sorry about that because it was a complete pain in the behind to move from the state ID that was recognized everywhere to the real ID. But now we're actually going to give them some sort of slightly dropped IDs because we are a culture of immigrants. And that was a quote from the governor, and I can't with that. But this is the idea. So if you have, and this is one of the primary problems with illegal immigration. It's not, at least around here at the moment, we don't have room, or that we don't have work. It's that when you make people illegal, you don't have to play by the rules. So when you employ an illegal immigrant, you're not paying them $22 an hour. You're not paying them 15. Oh no. Oh no, no. You think they're getting benefits? No, they're not. Maybe they are getting $15 an hour, $20 an hour, but they won't be getting benefits. And you can spray whatever pesticide on them you want to, because who are they going to complain to? And if there's crime in their neighborhoods, if there's problems with gangs, well, are they really going to call the police, even though that they, officially they can because we're a sanctuary state? Don't even get me started. Are they really going to do that when they're worried about getting deported? Really? Really? No, not really. So it creates a whole class of people that you can abuse all you want. Fabulous if you're the kind of person that likes to use people. It's absolutely fabulous if that's the kind of person you are. In the meantime, the people in the middle, they're pushing us out because you can't run a small business. Now, the professional classes can't afford to live here in a modest home. And that has to do with the insane housing prices. And there's some weird conspiracy stuff about that, which I'll get to in just a second because it's weird. But our housing prices have always been like this here, and it's a nice place to live as far as weather and stuff. So they've gone up, but they've gone up kind of crazy. But again, so you're just pinching out the people who are in the middle, because what you're going to do is you go, okay, well, you can't afford to live in your little suburban house by yourself, but you can't afford to live there if you've got somebody living in your, family living in your garage. If you got two families living in the house, whether you sort that out with the garage or whatever, and then, you have a family living the granny flat. So you get all those people together, then you can pay the mortgage. And that's a good, income, because a house on my block right now is going for $750, $850. And again, I live in a very, very modest neighborhood. So, and $750,000, that's a mighty high mortgage. How are you going to pay that? You're going to need a whole mess of people making good money. Again, this would be teacher, firefighter, police class. But do those people want to live in that situation? I think the only people they're going to be able to get are second-generation immigrants. People who are used to living in multifamily homes, and also who have their parents, grandparents, extended family living here. They're creating a serf and a servant class. And of course, they want people to be, to do a lot of the work very cheaply. And that's what that, rich overclass does rely on that. Agriculture relies on people that are poorly paid. A lot of food processing does, a lot of construction does. A lot of industry relies on the backbone of just a lot of people that don't get paid all that great. And so as we're raising the official pay grade, they're going to just separate out from the people that are illegal and can't negotiate for that, and the people that are legal and can get that rate, and that's their beginning thing, and that's how they're going to start their life. And then everybody else they're going to push away, because I don't want me. I grew up here. I grew up here when San Diego County was a Republican county with 4 military bases at least. We're pretty conservative, or we were. They don't want us. They actively do not want us. This whole blah, 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 flapping the lips about us leaving. Oh, come back to California, the land of the free. They want us. They want us gone. They want us gone. We make their lives problematic. It's a joke. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this. And yeah, I'm kind of mad because this is my home. I don't want to live here anymore, and I haven't for a while. But this is my home. How would you feel if it was your home? And no, it's not like we didn't fight. A lot of the stuff that's done in California is done at the appointee level up at the state. All the stuff with the school district and stuff like that, it's all done up there. They're not positions that anyone votes for. And there's so many people here. If you don't have serious cash and a whole lot of people, they don't care what you say. No, we're just giving lip service to the stuff that people like me want until we can get rid of us completely. And that push is going to come. We already have the rules for me and not for thee. Do they think it doesn't make us a little nuts? You think it doesn't make... I mean, I don't want to shoplift anything. I've never stolen a thing in my life. You think it doesn't make me a little nuts to know that somebody else can steal up to $1,000 worth of stuff and not get prosecuted? That's $1,000 a day, by the way. That, I can see... I see all kinds of illegal stuff go on all the time, and I don't mean the illegal immigrants that I live next to. Most of them I like. I mean, that's maybe something y'all don't know about Californians, including conservative Californians. We've lived with people that, you don't even want to know what they go through to get here. That's where we're soft on illegal immigration. I would like some really stringent laws, but the actual people that they go through hell to get here. And they came from badness. And you know what? They're really good people. Now, the gangbangers, the people that run them, the human traffickers, ladies don't use that kind of language. And I already had to delete one video from speaking my thoughts. Believe me, those are not good people. And those cause me problems as well as everybody else. But, just the folks is just folks. And they're good folks. If they were here legally, they'd be way more likely to vote red than blue. But they're not here legally. So I don't get any of the protections, and then I become their enemy, and then there's this whole thing. It's all game. If you think that's not intentional, you're very wrong. And that's been an old game. It's an old game. Remember, folks, these are the kind of people that hire a bunch of illegal immigrants for their chicken processing facility and then call immigration before payday. Before the last payday that they're due. So they don't have to pay them. And they find a fall guy to take the trouble. But it won't be that owner. No, it's a game. It's a nasty game. It has played with people's lives. Let's not pretend it's not. No, I'm angry about what they're doing to my state. And for so long I thought this was just something that was happening. It's not. They don't want me here. They don't want my family here. They don't want my bosses here. And they've made that extremely obvious. Fortunately, even though there's more Republicans in the state of California than there are in any number of states that are quite red. Which I think we have more Republicans in California than in any other state. Oh, the problem is we don't have enough. And it's not going to change. So if you're wondering why we're leaving, this. It's not because we don't love our state. Not because we don't know how. It's because of games being played. And we're the ones that are losing. And so, eventually, will you. Maybe not. Maybe they'll figure out a way to game it. I wouldn't count it out. But after today, I'm going to stop pretending that this is all a mistake. It's on purpose. And yeah, I'm a little mad.